that which we said that the chachamim, halacha kedivrei chachamim, that you can eat it, is it acharoises ka'omar mar or achardel ka'omar mar? Is it both on that vinegary dip or the mustard dip, or both? Omer lei l'may nafkamina. I mean, why would the halacha? What would be different? Rav Kahana, Rav Kahana machlokas l'toch achardel. When was there a machlokas between the chachamim and the other Tana regarding mustard? L'toch acharoises divrei kol yisraf miyad. According to Rav Kahana, if you put flour in the charoises, it's so sharp that it will cause chametz right away, and you have to burn it. So Amar le lo shmiya liklam lo svir le. He didn't hold of that opinion. I don't agree with that machlokas, and that's what they're arguing on. However, Amar Vashi kavosei Rav Kahana mistafra. Rav Ashi says that no, it's mistaber like Rav Kahana, that there's no argument regarding charoises. I mean, Amar Shmuel ain't halacha Rabbi Yossi, because it said Rabbi Shmuel said the halacha is not like Rabbi Yossi. Now, my love, what does that mean? Smusi who delot some is vinegar does not cause it to shrink. Achamui melchama, but it does call chamet. It's so low. It could be that according to that opinion, vinegar doesn't do either. It doesn't shrink it, and it doesn't cause it chametz either. So it's not clear yet from Rav Ashi approach that they're arguing in both cases. Okay, then we began the sugya of cooking the korban pesach, and we say ein mavashni, you cannot cook the korban pesach in water because it says al toichal mimenu na. Don't eat from it raw or partially roasted. That's what na means. Uvashel muvushal b'mayim. Don't eat it cooked. Ki in sli eish. Rather, you must eat it roasted under the fire. That's the pasuk. Ton rabbanon b'mayim. Eli ela b'mayim. Shar mashkin minayim. So that tells me I can't cook the korban pesach in water. Maybe I can cook it in other fluids. Armid kavachomer. We say no. Ma'amayim shein lefigim taimin. Water doesn't alter the taste of the korban. Yet asurin shar mashkin shemefigim taimin, that it lessens, it weakens the taste. Lo kol shekein, that it should be a problem. Rebbe learns differently. Rebbe omer b'mayim eli b'mayim shar mashkin. Now, how do I know that I cannot cook the korban pesach in other fluids? Talmud Loimer uvashel mevushal. That means mikol malka. The double language teaches me no matter what I cook it in, whether I cook it in water, whether I cook it in other fluids, it's going to be, I'm going to get malchus. My binai, what's the nafkamina between the Tanakama of this brisa and Rebbe? Whether you learn it because of the kavachomer or because Vashel Mavusha Mikol Makom. Ikibinayut Tzli Kedar. Tzli Kedar means you put the korban pesach in a pot without any fluid and you roast it. And then it cooks in its own juices. Rashi says, Ma'am anifleti mishamno. So according to one who learns it from the Kavachomer, so this would be permitted because nothing is there to weaken the taste. But according to Rebbe, who learned a Vashel Mevushal Mikol Makom, any way you cook it without, if you didn't do it over the fire, it would be awesome. That was enough kamina. V'rabbanon I Vashel Mevushal my Avdelahu. Okay, so the Chachamim who argued with Rebbe, the Reisha, who learned it out from the Kavachomer, what do they do with this pasuk of Vashel Mevushal? My Avdelay, Maboy Lelecha Detanya. It says Bishlo v'achakach tzlo. Somebody cooked it, and they roasted it afterwards. Oh, shitzlo, they roasted it v'achakach bishlu. So Bashel Mevushal teaches me chayiv no matter what. So bishlu v'achakach tzlo chayiv. I understand you cooked it, and then you roasted it. Well, you cooked it. You took a raw piece of meat and you cooked it. So the habashle. So I understand why there would be a prohibition. It's slow, but if you roasted it, and then cooked it, Hatzlieshu. Well, it's a product of being cooked over the fire directly. So why should that be a problem? Rav Kana, Amani, Rabbi Yoisihi. The Tanya, Yoitzin Beroki Kashoru. If you take a matzah and you soak it, as long as it doesn't dissolve completely, you're still chayiv, you're still yotzei the din of matzah. Uvemavushal shelo nimuach. If you take a baked matzah and you cook it, as long as it doesn't dissolve, you're also yotzei div Rabbi. Rabbi Yossi Omer, no. Yotzin berkuk ashar. You can take a matzah, soak it, that you can do. Avaloba mavushal. But cooking it ruins the baking. Aval bishalo nimuach. So that explains what do you mean salo v'achakach bishlu, by cooking it you ruined its tzli. So that approach so Rav Kahana is learning that it's only going to according to Rabbi Yossi. But Ula says no, afilu tema Rab Meir, who was the Tanakama there. And Shani Hachad Amar Kol Vashel Mevushal Mikol Makom. That means the Gzeres HaKosuv of Vashel Mevushal, a doubled language of Bishul, tells me I don't care what you do. If you cooked it and roasted, if you roasted and cooked it, Lamaisa, you cooked it, and that causes you to violate the Pasuk. Let's say you roast it over the fire until it becomes like a piece of black, lump of coal. So I might think you're chayiv. Oh, and then you were mavashel it. Talmud loimer al tachlu mimenu now vashel mevushal b'mayim means no raw uvashel mevushal amarti lach. The lo shetzlo kol tzarcho, but not a case where I roasted it too much. There's no lav there. So what is hechidami? What is yachol? What is slow kol tzarcho? Ravashi deshavi charucha. You made it a piece of like a coal. Torabona yachol achol kazayis chayev. If you eat a kazayis of raw korban pesach, so therefore I might think you'd be chayev of this din of al tachlu mimenu no. No means partially roasted, sleeve tzli, not raw. No uvashal. I told you there's a lav if you eat it partially roasted or cooked, but I didn't tell you that there's a lav if you eat it raw. Okay, maybe then it's mutter to eat it raw. Yeah, but it's like an assay. Kiyim tzliesh, you have to eat it roasted. And if you do anything other than roasted, in a sense, we're going to see there's going to be a machlokes. Do you get malchus for such a thing? Or maybe this is like a lav shebechlolos. It's a general statement, and maybe you don't get malchus. But anyway, you clearly can't eat it raw because the Torah says you got to eat it roasted. Hechi domino, amarav kedami parsoi avarnim. The Persians said half roasted. On Rav Chisda, you have hot springs, and you cook something on Shabbos. You're potter. You don't get chorus, and you're potter from korban. It's not considered bishul ala eish, and you have to have bishul ala eish, and this is natural eish that comes from. Chazal thought it was the sun that heated up the earth. We know that it's from the molten, it's from the core of the earth. So either way, it's from the sun. That's how the Gemara is going to learn. Pesach shebishul b'chamei tveria. So even though we said that by Shabbos, you're not chayiv for bishul on Shabbos, but if you cooked the korban pesach b'chamei tveria, you're chayiv malchus because you violated bashel mevushal. So Maishna b'Shabbos delo. How come we said it's not bishul to toldois eish ba'inan veleka? It's got to be directly cooked over a fire, and this is not. It's not from koach ha'esh. Well, if that's the case, Pesach Nami Lav told us Eshu. So it should be considered not cooked by fire. Why should you be Chayiv Malkus if you cook the Korban Pesach b'Chamei Tveria? Amar Rava, my Chayiv Diktani? What do we mean Chayiv Dika'over Mishum Tzliesh? You violated this thing of Ki and Tzliesh. You didn't eat it roasted over the fire. But you don't get Malkus for, Bashel Mavushal. Rav Chibra Rav Nosson Masil Lahad Rav Chizda Badei that Amar Rav Chizda Mavasha B'Chamei Tver B'Shabbos Potter U Pesach Shabisha B'Chamei Tver Yachayiv She'avar Mishum Tzliesh. He says beferish in that price that you didn't fulfill what the Torah said you have to do, which is roasted over the fire.
So is that an essa roasted? That's an essa. So you're not.
It's really im Tzliesh, meaning it's a lav if you do it any way other than Tzliesh. And we'll see. We're going to have a machlokas. There are those that say that this is considered a lav shebachlalois, and you don't get malchus for it. And others say no. We'll see. That'll come soon. Amar Rava, achlo na. If you ate it partially roasted, lo keshtayim, you get one al tochlu mimenu na, and you violated the ki im tzliesh. So you see here, this Bandamer holds that even though it's a lav shebachlalis, you get malchus for it. It falls under a lav of lo sochlu. And if you ate it mevushal, also lo keshtayim, because you violated bashel mevushal and you violated tzliesh. In fact, if you ate it na umavushal, you ate it partially cooked and partially roasted and cooked, lo keshalosh for na, bishul, and the kiyim tzliesh. Abaya says no, ein loikin alav shebachlalis. This kiyim tzliesh is a general lav. The koilel bo kol minei bishulum she'enan tzliya le'eser, says Rashi. It includes a whole bunch of different things. It's not specific of how to cook it. You can saute it. You can sous vide it. You can all the various broil it. All the various types of cooking. And therefore it's considered a lav shebachlalis. And Abaya holds that you don't get malchus for a general lav. Therefore, therefore Abaya wouldn't hold that you get shtayim and sholosh. Now there's two ways of learning Abaya. You wouldn't get two, but you'd get the one for either na or mavushal. And there's a manda omer that holds you wouldn't get any malchus because of for kiyim tzliesh. Rashi says the lo miyuchad lave didei kalav the chasima. Right? It says by malchus, it says the din of malchus, and right near it says lo sachshom shor b'disho. Don't muzzle an ox when it's threshing. That's a very specific law. So according to the way Abai is learning, you wouldn't get any. If, for example, you did it in not mavushal or not. Of course, he would hold that if you cooked it or ate it partially roasted, you get it. We're talking about you cooked it some other way. So then you wouldn't get malchus for this non-sleeve thing. If it's not a specific lav that's clearly mentioned in the Torah, like chasima, you wouldn't get malchus. This thing of you can only eat meat roasted, it's not miyuchid to any specific thing. except if you ate it no mavushal. Rava Omar, in a similar and analogous way regarding Nazir, Ochal Zag. So the pasuk for a Nazir says, Kol Yemei Nizro, all of the days of his Naziris, Mikol Asher Yaseh Migefen Hayayin, anything that is made Migefen Hayayin Merchatzanim Ve'ad Zag, from the branches to the leaves, Lo Yoichal. So if he ate Zag, you would get Loikeshtayim for the Zag, and because Nasad Migefen Hayayin. Similarly, if he ate Chartzen, which is like the shmorim, the sediment, also like a shtayim, because you ate chartzen and something megef nayayin. And zag v'chartzen like a shalish, like a papaya. I know. This is another example of kol asher yasem megef nayayin. It's a lav shebechlolos, a like and a lav shebechlolos. And ikadiyar mitarti u'deloi laki b'chadam yes laki. You wouldn't get two, you get one. But ikadiyar michadam nami lo laki lo miyachid lavi kalav t'chasim. That means if you ate something other than zag and chartzen, this last piece, according to Abaya, you wouldn't get even 1 cent. For Rabbanon, Achal Kazayis Nomi Bod Yom. So we have a chiyuv to eat the Korban Pesach the night of Pesach. So what if you ate a kazayis of partially roasted Korban Pesach in the daytime? Potter. You would not get malchus. Kazayis Nomi Shechashecha. If you ate a kazayas partially roasted at night, chayiv. Ochal kazayas tzlimi bod yom. So everyone signed up to eat their Korban Pesach by subscription with, let's say, a whole bunch of other people. So this halacha says that if in the middle of the day you ate a kazayas tzli Korban Pesach, it's not considered like you ate anything. Lo posel atzma b'nei chabura. You'd be allowed to join your chabura. Because normally you can't eat a Korban Pesach in 2 chabura. So if you ate a kazayas during the daytime with a different chabura, you can still join your original chabura at night. Because it says, mi bayis echad yayochel. So the chabura chada yisaka, you got to eat in 1 chabura. However, achila mi bod yom is lav achila hi. The fact that you ate it during the daytime when there's no chiyuv of the Korban Pesach is not considered a chila. And therefore you'd be permitted to eat it that night with your bnei chabura. However, kazayis tzli meshachashecha. Let's say you ate a kazayis with chabura A at night. That's considered a halachic achila, and therefore posel atzma bnei chabura. The original chabur that he signed up with, he would not be able to eat with them. I might think that if you ate a kazayas of partially roasted Korban Pesach during the daytime, you'd also be chayiv. If you didn't, it's a kal v'chomer. If at night, when you have a mitzvah to eat the tzli, that you have a chiyuv of a malchus if you eat it partially roasted. So certainly when in the daytime when there's no mitzvah to eat it, I would certainly think that eno din sheyesh val toichel na. If I can't eat it na at night, I certainly can't eat it na in the daytime. Although, or maybe not. Or maybe not. Maybe b'shar she'ena b'kum echol tzli. Maybe when I don't have a mitzvah of eating it tzli, like in the daytime, there will be a chiyuv of eating it raw. And and maybe at night, where there is a mitzvah to eat it, maybe there wouldn't. That's not the right time where I would get the love of eating it partially cooked. And v'al titoma, don't wonder. Sharei huter michlolo etzel tzli. You're not allowed to eat from the Korban Pesach at all prior to nightfall. even if it was tzli. So and once it becomes permitted at night, maybe it's permitted to eat it no. That's how the Gemara is learning here. That's the havamina Talmud. Al tochlu mimenu no, uvashel mevushal bamoyim kiyim tzliesh. She'ein Talmud lemer kiyim tzliesh. What do I need that for? It's actually to connect the time of the Yisr. That is, at the time where you have a mitzvah to eat it roasted, that's when you have the lav of eating it partially roasted. And in the daytime, you don't have a lav of them. Rebbe Oimer, Ekra ani bashel. The Torah could have said bashel. Matam alon mevushal. Sheyachol ein li ela shabishlo mishachashecha. I might think that you get the lav of bishul only from nightfall. Bishul mibad yominayin. What about if I cook it in the daytime? It is also a lav. Tam alon bashel mevushal mikol makom. Anytime you cook it, day or night. So the Gemara asks, "Why bashel mevushal afke Rebbe litzli ked of l'shar mashkin?" We already used bashel mevushal for a drasha, that if you cook the Korban Pesach in a pot, in its own juices, we said Rebbe would hold, you'd be chayav malchus for it because of this bashel mevushal. So Rebbe answers him, "Kain lemakra o bashel bashel, o mevushal mevushal." My bashel mevushal. Why this change in language? Shema mina tarti. I learned both dinim. Torah Rabbanon. Ochal tzli mibad yom. If you ate a kazayas of the tzli of the Korban Pesach in the daytime, chayiv, because I'm supposed to eat it at night. If I eat kazayas namish achashecha, if I eat a kazayas partially roasted at night, chayiv. Ktani tzli dumidina. It seems to be comparing tzli to na, and mana belov. Just like if I eat it partially roasted, there's a lav, therefore af tzli belav. So that seems to be a raya that if I ate a kazayas of tzli in the daytime, there would also be a lav. We meaning lav with malchus. So bishma noksiv al tochlu mimenu na. Ela tzli minola. Where is the lav for tzli? Dichsiv the achlu et basar balayla zeh. You have to eat the meat tonight. Balayla in bayon lo. But then it's not a lav. Halav abam michlal asehu. It's when it says you have to eat it at night. It means if you didn't eat it at night, you violated an asay. In essence, that's called a lav abam michlal asay. The cholav abam michlal asay, and not a malchus. And in fact, that's how the Rambam paskins. If you ate a kazayas sleeve the Korban Pesach in the daytime, you're over a mitzvah saseh. So there's no lav there. Also, the Rambam says, if you ate from the Korban Pesach partially roasted or cooked in the daytime, you don't get malchus. You only get malchus if you did these isurim bisman choivas achilas pesach. They only trigger at night when you have a chiyuv of eating the Korban Pesach. The Rambam also paskins that if I eat the Korban Pesach partially roasted and cooked at one shot, you only get one malchus. Because we paskin ein loikin alav shebechlolois. Okay.
If you may, you